Sometimes evil doesn't hide in dark forests or haunted asylums. Sometimes, it hides inside something ordinary. Something small enough to fit on your shelf, or in your closet. Something you might even buy online without thinking twice. And in the early 2000s, that's exactly what happened. A man bought a simple wooden wine cabinet on eBay. It wasn't large, it wasn't flashy, and it certainly wasn't expensive. But the stories that came after, the nightmares, the sickness, the deaths, turned that little cabinet into what many now call the most cursed object ever sold on the internet. It became known as the Dybbuk Box. And what happened to the people who owned it will make you think twice the next time you click buy now. The story begins in 2001. Kevin Mannis, a small antiques dealer in Portland, Oregon, goes to an estate sale. The belongings of a Holocaust survivor were being sold, and tucked away in the lot was a peculiar wooden wine cabinet. Its surface was scratched and scarred, its doors carved with strange grapevine patterns. Mannis bought it without hesitation. It seemed like the kind of odd trinket he could resell in his antique shop. But what he didn't know, what no one knew yet, was that the little cabinet carried with it something dark. Something ancient. When he tried to gift it to his mother, she refused to keep it. In fact, everyone who came near the box rejected it instantly. They said it felt wrong, unsettling, heavy, even when it was empty. But it wasn't empty. Inside were bizarre little objects. 2 locks of hair tied with string, a dried rose, a golden goblet, and a small granite slab carved with a single Hebrew word, shalom, peace. But whatever spirit lived inside the box was anything but peaceful. Almost immediately, Kevin and anyone who touched the box began to suffer. Nightmares spread like a disease. The same recurring dream, a shadowy hag, an old crone with hollow eyes, attacking them in their sleep. Mannis himself reported his hair falling out in clumps. Light bulbs exploded around him. Shadow figures appeared in his peripheral vision, vanishing whenever he turned his head. He tried to give the box away, but it always found its way back to him. Finally, desperate, he did what anyone might do in the early days of the internet. He listed it on eBay. The listing read like a horror story. He warned potential buyers of the box's terrifying effects. He even called it by its name, the Dybbuk Box. In Jewish folklore, a dybbuk is a restless, malicious spirit, one that can attach itself to objects, or to people. Most dismissed the listing as a joke. But someone bought it, and that's when the legend began to grow. The box passed from one owner to another, and each time, the stories grew darker. One college student claimed his roommate had a stroke days after the box arrived. Their apartment filled with the stench of cat urine and ammonia. Electronics failed for no reason. He begged his girlfriend's family to take it. But when they did, the nightmares began in their home too. Every new owner reported the same things: the hag dreams, the sudden illnesses, the feeling of being watched. One woman claimed she saw shadow people lurking around her house at night. Another collapsed without explanation, and the box kept being sold, handed off like a plague no one wanted to keep. Each new listing on eBay added to the myth, turning a strange little wine cabinet into one of the most infamous objects in America. Eventually, it was bought by a man named Jason Haxton, a museum curator. Unlike the others, Haxton wasn't a superstitious man. He thought perhaps the curse was exaggerated, or just a story. But within weeks of bringing it home, he began to suffer strange medical problems. He broke out in rashes. He had coughing fits so severe he claimed to cough up blood. And he too reported seeing shadow figures. Haxton later said the box was the most terrifying object I've ever handled. He became obsessed with researching it, tracing its origins, trying to understand what exactly was locked inside. Eventually, he wrote an entire book about it, cementing the Dybbuk Box as a modern urban legend. And then the story took another turn. The box was eventually acquired by Zach Bagans, the host of Ghost Adventures. Today, it sits locked in a glass case inside his haunted museum in Las Vegas. And even there, it continues to terrify. Bagans claims that just being near it makes people dizzy, nauseous, or violently ill. Visitors report feelings of dread, overwhelming sadness, and the sense that something unseen is standing right behind them. When Baggins himself opened the Dybbuk box on camera, strange things happened. His crew became sick, one refused to ever step foot in the museum again, and even his celebrity guests reported being plagued with nightmares for weeks after. But here's the chilling part. The Dybbuk box in Las Vegas may not be the only one. Researchers have suggested that there are at least 10 others scattered around the world, each containing fragments of the same spirit. Which means the one in Las Vegas is just part of something larger. And so the debate rages on. Some say the Dybbuk box is the greatest paranormal hoax of the 21st century, created by Kevin Mandis as a kind of living ghost story before creepypasta even existed. Others argue the sheer consistency of the reports proves the curse is real. But whether hoax or horror, the Dybbuk box has done what very few haunted objects ever manage. It terrifies before you even see it. Its reputation alone is enough to make you uneasy. And maybe that's the scariest thing of all, because you don't need to be near the Dybbuk box to feel its curse. Just knowing about it, just thinking about it, may be enough. So tonight, when you scroll through eBay, and you see some harmless antique, a music box, a chest, maybe even a cabinet, ask yourself this. Why is it being sold so cheaply? Why is the seller so desperate to get rid of it? Because sometimes evil doesn't hide in dark forests, or haunted houses. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. And sometimes it's already waiting in a package, ready to be shipped, straight to your door. Be careful what you buy.